Right, I think we're live. Hopefully, you can all hear me, see me. This is a last minute winging ad hoc Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, my very first LinkedIn Live. And I thought I'd do a very quick Q&A because I get loads of questions asked all the time from clients and potential clients and people just kicking a lot of tires, to be fair. So I'm just going to go through some basic questions around fitness, nutrition. We'll have a bit of fun. If there's any questions pop up into the chat and I see them, I'm going to answer them. Like I said, I'm going to do a weekly LinkedIn Live. It's probably not going to be at 5 p.m. on a Friday evening. But as I said, this was a last minute thing. I just wanted to get the first one out there. As always, with anything that I do, rather than setting up and planning it and making sure it's perfect and having everything ready, I've just literally had a quick run through, press record, and we're just going to go for it and see what happens. And hopefully you can see my new backdrop. You've noticed that you can see my branding. And hopefully this is coming through okay recording wise. Let's get straight to it. So I've collated 5 or 6 questions that I get asked, versions of this all the time. And the first one is about carbohydrates. Still, a lot of people believe that carbohydrates are making them fat. Now, just to back up slightly, you can get fat from overconsumption of any of the calories, any of the macros, protein, fats, or carbs. So somewhere along the lines, it's got blurred that people think if you eat carbs or sugar, that automatically makes you fat. The only way you gain body fat or adipose tissue or excess weight, whatever you want to call it, however you want to slice it, is by an overconsumption of calories. So you could eat carbs all day long, but if you're burning more calories than you're taking in, you're going to lose weight or you're not going to gain weight. So I just wanted to clear that up to start with. So there's 2 phases of weight loss or fat loss. There's a calorie surplus, and that's where 3 phases actually. Calorie surplus is where you take in more calories than you burn, you're going to gain weight. A calorie deficit is where you burn more calories than you take in. That's when you lose weight. When you're in a maintenance phase, excuse me, when you're taking the same amount of calories you burn, you just stay the same. That's what most people kind of do accidentally, whether they track their calories, they don't track the calories. They overeat sometimes, usually at the weekend. They tend to undereat other times of the week. So that's basically around calories. But let's look at carbs. We talked about carbs. There's nothing inherently wrong with carbs. In fact, carbs, we need carbs for energy, for brain, for the glucose for the brain. But carbs there's nothing wrong with having carbohydrates in your diet. And a lot of people say, well, if I eat carbs late at night, it's going to make me store body fat. Timing of food, timing of carbohydrates is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter what time you have carbs. You want to have carbs at midnight and go to bed. Absolutely makes no difference whatsoever. You want to have all your carbs in the morning, makes no difference whatsoever. In terms of body fat, now, timing of carbohydrates may affect energy, may affect your output, may affect your performance in the gym, all these different things. But in terms of actually gaining body fat, you're not going to gain body fat. Excuse me, someone's trying to call me. So that's carbohydrates. And certainly carbs after 7 p.m. And I'll hold my hand up. I'm going to hold my hand up right now. 15, 20 years ago, before the internet, well, I know the internet was kind of 25 years old. I think I got online about late 90s at some point. But, in the early or to mid 90s, the only sort of nutritional information we had was from bodybuilding mags. And these are not probably the worst people to go for in terms of nutrition advice. There's a lot of bro science around there. So we were reading the magazines of these big guys that nearly all are using drugs. And again, I'm not here to judge. That's not my thought pattern with this, where I'm going. I'm just saying we were told certain things. And there's a lot of bullshit that we were fed. So carbohydrates after 7 p.m. So at 6:59, you can eat carbohydrates, and as soon as it gets to 7 p.m., you tend to store them in body fat. It doesn't work. That's just not how carbohydrates work. So you could, it's irrelevant when you eat your food. It's relevant when you eat your protein, fats, and carbohydrates. What matters is your overall energy balance over the day. So if you're in a calorie surplus It doesn't matter if you have those carbs at night or in the morning or in the middle of the day, or protein or fat. If you're in a calorie deficit, you could eat all of your carbohydrates and all of your food at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're still going to lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. So hopefully that's put that first one to bed. That's carbohydrates and carbs after 7 p.m. Okay, second one. I often get asked about sleep and how important it is. One, we know it's incredibly important for overall health, but does it affect fat loss? The answer is yes, maybe not. No, it really depends. So I'll give you some context. First of all, sleep in terms of actual health. Oh, we've got a couple of questions. Here we are. Mark. Hello, Mark. Hi, mate. How you doing? I'm just going to read Mark's question up. In fact, let me see if I can pop this onto the chat. There we go. Look at that. First time I've done that. Mark said, love the 12-week program. I was on just for Christmas, lost 24 pounds. And then the next lockdown reset my mindset. I'm struggling without the accountability to start again. Mark, join the mastery. We've got 7 people in the mastery now. Come on, come back into the program. We've got a new 6-month program that's even better than the first 10. Trust me, it's really, really good. But thanks for popping up with the question there, mate. Appreciate that. All right, there's Mark. But Mark, definitely come back. The mastery is calling your name. Sleep and fat loss. Okay, first of all, within health, fitness, nutrition, probably the most important thing we can do to look after our health is to sleep well. And it's weird because it's free. You don't need to pay to do anything. We need it every night. And weirdly enough, we're the only animals or mammals on the planet, or the only creatures on the planet that will intentionally go to bed later than when we should. So we're meant to be the smartest creatures on the planet. Now, that's up to debate. If you think about it, with laptops and computers and staying up late and partying and all the things we do after 10, 11, whenever you go to bed, we're the only creatures that actually intentionally stay up. If you look when the sun goes down, if the creature or animal or mammal is meant to go to bed, they go to sleep. Simple as that. And they get up at, sunrise. That said, there's a lot of things we can do to maximize sleep, but I'm kind of going off a bit topic here. In terms of fat loss, okay, it's the most important thing for overall health. Now, losing sleep or having bad sleep won't actually make you gain body fat, but it could stop you or could hinder your progress. I tell you, there's 2 hormones that we want to take particular care of when it comes to this. First of all, leptin and ghrelin. There are hunger hormones, really metabolism hormones. Okay. Well, we got someone calling in from India. Awesome. Namaste. Leptin is our satiety hormone. Ghrelin is our hunger hormone. Now, leptin kind of signals that we're full, that we're satisfied. Ghrelin tells us that we're hungry. The problem is when you get bad sleep, under 6 hours, 4 or 5 hours of broken sleep, it skewed these hormones. So you've got one hormone saying you're not satisfied, and you've got another hormone saying eat more food. So you can see from a losing body fat perspective, that's a recipe for disaster. So I know from personal experience and from working with clients for the last 20 years, when you are tired, you tend to crave crappy foods, more carbohydrates, salty foods, foods that taste good. And it's our body's way of saying we need more foods. But do we? So be aware of you won't actually get fat or gain body fat by having poor sleep, but poor sleep will interfere with your hormones, and indirectly those hormones could make you overeat and go for a poor choice of food, which means you're going to gain body fat if you go into a calorie surplus. Okay, to back up a little bit on sleep as well, we actually burn body fat when we sleep. That's our preferred source of fuel. Okay, it could burn carbohydrates or glycogen in the muscle, but the body will burn body fat, although only a tiny bit. So you're going to lose out on that potential of burning body fat if you're not maximizing your sleep. Second point on that is, if your sleep's devastated, if you had 4 or 5 hours of poor sleep, the chances of you going to the gym or going to the run for a run or doing your planned exercise session are probably diminished. That's not to say you won't go to the gym if you've had a poor poor night's sleep, but it's unlikely, well, not unlikely, I'll rephrase that. It's not likely that you're going to be desperate to get to the gym at 6 a.m. if you wake up very tired. So from a health perspective, we need great sleep. From a motivation perspective in the morning, it's probably wise to get great sleep. And from a hormone perspective, bad sleep will play havoc with leptin and ghrelin, okay, which could cause you to overeat. All right, this is such a huge topic. We could probably do a LinkedIn Live just purely on the topic of sleep. In fact, we will do. I'll note that down. Okay, the next question. Can you drink alcohol and still lose body fat? And I actually put a post on LinkedIn today. And the answer is yes, but the devil is in the dose. Alcohol is just calories like everything else. And to give you a little bit on calories, there's 4 calories in a gram of protein, 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrate. There's 9 calories in a gram of fat, but there's actually 7 calories per gram of alcohol. So, yes, you can actually have a couple of drinks, 2, 3, 4 drinks, if you're tracking your calories and you're not into a calorie surplus. Just because you drink alcohol, it's not going to make you gain fat. Remember, you only gain body fat if you're in a calorie surplus. If you're taking in more calories than you're burning, you'll gain body fat. Now, if those calories happen to be alcohol, then you're going to gain body fat. Now, the problem with alcohol is no one's tracking them. 2, 3, 4 drinks. You have 4 or 5 drinks, that could lead to 10 drinks. When you have 10 drinks, that's when you get kebab and a bag of chips and a pizza and a burger on the way home. So you're then going to overeat. You wake up with a hangover, and you're probably not going to have scrambled eggs and avocado for breakfast. You're going to have leftover pizza. You know, so many questions coming in. Oh, Doug, I like this. Doug says, once you're up, make your bed. First accomplishment of the day and prevents you wanting to climb back in. Doug, I love that. I love that. I need to take note of that myself. I get someone else to make my bed, or maybe not, but I'm joking. But Doug, I like that. I like that. What else have we got? Never consume nicotine and alcohol. Well, it depends. I mean, there's a lot worse things to consume than alcohol. Nicotine, we all know it's not great to smoke and drink to excess. Definitely no smoking. I agree with that. But alcohol, it's a poison, no doubt. It's not great for our health, but could be one of life pleasures. But as always, the devil is in the dose. Okay. What else have we got? Avoid more chocolate. Probably a good thing to do that. Okay. Sarika, got a few things coming in here. Eat fibers, roughage, and more water. Avoid junk food to enter to your body to maintain your anxiety. Yeah, there's quite a few things going on here, Sarika, but let me stick to the questions, if that's okay. Alcohol, losing body fat. So look, the devil's in the dose. If you're consuming alcohol every day, there's no doubt that alcohol is not great for your health. You'd want to reduce that. But can my clients still lose body fat by having a few drinks, a couple of glasses of wine, gin and tonics, a few beers every now and then again at the weekend? Absolutely. And if someone's a heavy drinker, I don't recommend they entirely cut alcohol out, because you absolutely could. And would it be a good thing for your health? Yes. Is it sustainable for most people? Probably not. To go from drinking a lot to cold turkey, it's going to cause problems. If someone's drinking every single night of the week, what I say to my clients, if they're trying to lose body fat, if you can lose body fat and still have a few drinks and it's not causing a problem, stick at it. But if those drinks are causing you to go into a calorie surplus and also eat the snacks and give you bad sleep, and it's affecting your lifestyle, which means you're not going to the gym, which means you're not getting results, then it could be time to look at alcohol. So alcohol itself is not the problem. It's the calorie surplus is the problem. Okay. Hope that makes sense to everyone. Okay. Just looking at some of the questions here. Okay. That's that. Cardio on an empty stomach. Now, this is an interesting one. And again, I'll hold my hand up. This is one of the myths that we were told or led to believe by professional bodybuilders in the 90s. Now, the theory goes, if you wake up in the morning and exercise on an empty stomach or in a fasted state, as it's technically called. The theory was that you would tap into your fat stores stored on the body and use fat as a source of fuel, as opposed to the carbohydrates or the glycogen, which is the stored carbohydrates in the muscle and the liver. So instead of using carbohydrates and the energy of food, you would tap into your fat that's stored on your body. The reality is that's not the truth. Studies show it's irrelevant. Whether you do cardio fasted or non-fasted, it makes no difference. Now, what will happen if you do cardio fasted? It is true, you will tend to burn more body fat. However, it's the net energy balance at the end of the day that determines your fat loss. If you have a big bowl of porridge and some scrambled eggs, then go and do your cardio. Yes, you're going to burn calories from the food that you've taken in, and also the food that you've got stored in the muscle and the liver, glycogen. But what determines your fat loss at the end of the day or the end of the week is that energy balance. If you're in a calorie surplus, it doesn't matter whether you do cardio first thing in the morning or last thing at night, fasted or non-fasted. If you're in a calorie deficit, fasted or non-fasted, it won't make any difference. So let's put that one to bed. It makes no bloody difference. But I hold my hand up. I like personally doing cardio fasted, not because it burns more body fat, because I feel like it burns more body fat. And what happens if you feel like it's going to burn more body fat? You're more likely to stick to your diet. You're more likely to go to the gym. You feel like you're getting results. So your adherence to what you're trying to achieve could be higher. For me personally, that's just my own personal preference. Plus, I like going to the gym on an empty stomach anyway in the morning. It just makes me feel good. I've got lots of energy in the morning. I don't need to have food. Everyone's different. So you do you. It makes no difference whatsoever. But it doesn't make any difference in terms of fat loss, fasted or non-fasted. Okay? All righty. What have we got next? Best time to train. I get this all the time. In fact, I was asked this twice just this week. The best time to train is the time that you can train. It's way more important that you get the session done than you don't. It's irrelevant. It really is personal preference. I like to train first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. Now the gyms have opened up in the UK. But I'd previously trained at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It really doesn't make any difference. Now, there is some research that suggests in terms of maximal strength, the best time to train is around about the 4 or 5 p.m. mark. Okay, but for most people that've got a job, that's not going to be practical. Again, I'm generalizing here, but most people, when I worked with one-to-one clients in the city, most clients came in before work. So it was like 6, 7 a.m. at lunchtime on their lunch break, and then after work. So it's way more important that you get the session in rather than worrying about optimal times. Now, if you're an Olympic athlete, professional sports player, and you name the sport, could there be some benefits for training in the optimal time, 4 or 5 p.m.? Maybe, maybe not. I personally don't like training at 4 or 5 p.m. I like training in the morning. So I'm going to get more done at the time that I like to train. Okay? So it makes no difference. Get into the gym, go for the run, go for the bike ride, do the swim, do whatever floats your boat when it comes to your exercise, and stick to the activities that you enjoy. Don't do things that you don't enjoy, because guess what? You're not going to stick to them. Your adherence level is going to be rubbish, and you're going to quit. And it's way more important that you do the things you enjoy at the times that work for you. So it makes no difference. Now, as I've said that, there could be a problem if you're working out at 9 or 10 p.m. Maybe that's the only time you get to go to the gym. It's probably rare, but it's, maybe you do shift work. If you're trying to go to bed after a heavy weight training session, it could interfere with your nervous system, which means you might struggle getting to sleep. Not everyone, but a lot of people struggle to get to sleep if they work out too late before bedtime. Your adrenaline's up, different hormones are pumping around the body, blood's flowing, you've got a pump. It's probably not the best time. However, if that's the only time you can get to the gym, going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week at 9 p.m. is going to get better results than not going. But again, the devil's in the dose. If it's affecting your sleep, maybe it's a better time to go another time. So up to you. Best time to eat food. I get this one all the time. The best time to eat food for losing body fat or just staying in shape, general health, is, drum roll, if I had a drum, is the time that you like to eat food. It makes no difference whatsoever. And this is another one of those bullshit stories. Rob, let me see. Rob, I'll put you up on the screen. Thanks, Rob. Personally love training in the morning, sets me up for the day. I think so more clearly. If I had a few beers the night before, it's hard to train, but I feel so much better than not training. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Yeah, definitely. I like to get it done. Best time to eat food. The reality is it doesn't make any difference. If you eat 1 meal, 5 meals, 3 meals, or any variation in between, what matters is the total calories over the day. So if you're trying to burn body fat, if you're trying to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. Now, you could split those calories into 5 small snacks, or have 1 large meal, or have 3 meals. It won't make any difference in terms of fat loss. What matters is those calories. Now, if you're trying to build muscle and get as strong as possible, which some of you may well be doing so, but the majority of you probably not. But some of you, if you're like myself, you like to go to the gym, you're trying to put a bit of muscle on, you like doing weight training, we need several feedings of protein throughout the day. So I would suggest for most people, and let's generalize here, most people like to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Again, across the world, generally what most people like to do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you were trying to build the most muscle possible, I would put a snack in there and have 4 good quality servings. Is that 4? There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 good quality servings of protein. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a high protein snack. That would be the best way to build muscle, because we need 20 to 30 grams, maybe a bit more for some people, every single meal to elicit what's known as MPS, which is muscle protein synthesis. But for the average person trying to lose weight, if you stuck to your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snack in between, if that's what you like, but kept those calories in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose body fat. Now, here's the thing. You've probably heard of OMAD, or OMAD, 1 meal a day. Now, there's nothing magical about 1 meal a day or intermittent fasting for fat loss, because the only mechanism that helps you lose body fat is by being in a calorie deficit. So if you have 1 meal a day and you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose body fat. If you have 1 meal a day and you eat more than you're burning, you're going to get fat. Doesn't matter how many meals you do. Hopefully that makes sense. Rob, I'll pop his question up. HIIT, high intensity interval training, or Tabata? Well, they're kind of the same, Rob. But I guess from fat loss perspective, it really doesn't matter. Like high intensity Tabata or long form, like slow, steady cardio, do what you prefer. It really won't make any difference. Now, the only thing is, obviously, your high intensity stuff and your Tabata, which is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, repeat for 4, as you probably know. Maybe other people don't. More high intensity, the more chance of injury. So maybe a beginner probably wouldn't be best suited to high intensity or Tabata. But what really matters, it won't actually burn more body fat. You'll burn more calories in the session, and probably quicker, as in, your session might be over 10, 15 minutes. But I personally don't do, I'm on 47 and I've been training, well over 30 years now. And I personally don't like doing too high intensity, because I just can't take it. I've had a couple of meniscus injuries. I've got a lower back injury. I've got a hip injury. So high intensity just doesn't work for me. I used to love doing Tabata, but for me, my cardio is like an incline walk on a treadmill, about speed of 5.5, an incline for about 45 minutes. I'll burn 300 or 400 calories in the session. For me, I'm going to get more benefit out of doing that 2 or 3 times a week, because I'm not unlikely to get injured. But again, it depends how old you are, Rob, and if you've got any injuries. But high intensity Tabata, low intensity or less low intensity steady state, makes no difference. Cardio is cardio. So I think that's all the questions I've got planned today. I'm just going to go into the chat and see if there's anything there. Rob, thanks for those questions. Jay, good to see you, Gav. Loving your work. Support you, my friend. Jay Ray, or is it Rye? Jay, I'm sorry if I pronounced your surname wrong. Jay, I like the sound of Jay Ray. Maybe it's Jay Rye. I don't know. But Jay, thank you very much. Thanks. And this is, as I said, this was just a spur of the moment. Well, spur of the moment, I say that. 2 hours ago. I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a LinkedIn Live, but I'm going to do a planned one every single week, and we'll get some real good questions going. But I kind of really wanted to check out the software and see that it works, and see how the chat works, and see if there was any interaction, and just give you guys some basic ideas on some of the myths. So hopefully we'll get a lot more people involved. Give me some really good questions. Any questions on, if you're new to this and you're going to see this on the recording or the catch up, questions on fitness, nutrition, fat loss, mindset, big area of mine, self-image, self-esteem, self-limiting beliefs, anything along mindset and losing body fat and staying in shape and health, I'm more than happy to answer the questions, very comfortable in that arena. All right, guys, I'm going to check out here. We've been on here about 25 minutes. Hopefully you've taken a few ideas from that. First LinkedIn Live, first of many. I shall see